Baker.
Yeah, you found them.
You order, Sarge.
We all made some poor life choices, Baker. The old man would love to discuss the consequences with you.
3 days ago, I lost my Green Berets. There is something going on in that valley. RT Vulture. Reconnaissance is your business. And I need you all to find them for me.
What is it?
Track.
Is it our guys?
No. Animal. Something big. Telling you guys, there's monsters out here.
Welcome to the Carlisle Cult Cinema Club presents Luke Sparke in conversation with 85 IMDb credits to his name, including 16 as a producer, 14 in costume and wardrobe, 6 as a director, including Bring Him to Me, Occupation and its sequel, Occupation Rainfall, and of course, Primitive War, 12 as a writer, and 24 miscellaneous. Welcome to the show, you absolutely action horror genius, Luke Sparke.
Hello. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
No, so directing wise, it started for you with Yesterday's History, which is a bit of the history of Australia in water, from what I could gather.
Yeah. It was something that I was passionate. It was something that I've always been passionate about. If you look at my CV, is military history, and it's how I got into the business. And that was a two-part little TV special that we put together that aired on the History Channel out here in Australia for Anzac Day, which is our memorial for World War One, Gallipoli, and then obviously for all the wars as well. But yeah, it aired on Anzac Day in 2015, and it was my first go as a director, which then led me to my first feature film.
Which Red Billabong,
Red Bill.
creature feature about the bunyip. Two estranged brothers discover old secrets and family lies as their friends start to go missing. They fear they're being stalked by someone or something.
Yes, yes. And it came out in America many years later, renamed as a different title.
Yes, Devil Beneath,
Devil Beneath.
with an hour and a half run. So I got hold of both films, not realizing they were the same.
Yeah, right. That's what happens sometimes. But yeah, I mean, look, Red Billabong was my first go at directing a feature. I had a World War One film, the 34th Battalion, which I still want to do one day. It's a big epic World War One film about the Anzacs. And at the time, no one would listen to a first-time feature film director, which is funny because if they came back to me today and said, you can do it right now, go, I would literally pull out the same storyboards and dust them off and use what I had because I still think it's the best film I could put down.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting how the perception of filmmakers is. But yeah, that was my first go at it. So I decided to pivot and do this creature feature because the genre is obviously something I'm a fan of. So yeah, I decided to do that, and that was a experience. But each one leads to the next one and to the next one. So definitely things you take away from it, and the good and the bad. Remember what you did right. A lot of times it's more about sitting down on Monday morning and looking back at gameplay and looking like what you could fix and what you could do better. And it's all experience building towards your goal.
Mm. And I'm guessing the creature was a combination of CGI practical, because it kind of gave off in some parts that kind of Harryhausen vibe.
A little bit, yeah, it definitely has the Harryhausen vibe. Yeah, it was It was a night. I mean, look, it was a nightmare to get that creature done. There was practical effects. The effects never reached uh, where I wanted it to be. The people we had on set doing that. It was yeah. It was look. It was a real trial by fire film, and then the post of that was I look at like I said just before, I look at everything as a build up to where you got to be. And the biggest takeaway I took from that show is that I got to have my first proper peek behind the curtain of how some visual effects houses operate. So again, just like the practical, the CG never reached my where I wanted it and where the conversations were at the beginning, where the budget was at, and a lot of other things. But it did teach me a big lesson of behind the curtain and what can be done, what could be done about that for independent filmmaking. So I took a lot of lessons away in that CG world.
And I liked how it was kind of that Jaws thing where you only get glimpses of the creature at first, and then you get
Yeah,
the full on.
yeah. It was designed that way.
And nice twist in it, which I won't give away for people who've not seen it. Um, but yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. And then I started sitting down to watch The Devil Beneath and realized, hang on, I've seen this before.
Yep, yeah. So they came to us, yeah, many years later after I'd done a few more films and my name was a bit more circulating in Hollywood.
Mm,
And they came to me and they said, "Hey, if you could rename it, well, they named it. If you could rename it and recut it, cut it down, they had some interest." So not being one that's sentimental about things. And I thought it was another chance to have another go at that movie. So yeah, we cut out some runtime. I actually got it rescored. The soundtrack is different. It was my composer from the Occupation movies, Occupation Rainfall actually, came on and rescored that movie for me to give it a bit more of an epic soundtrack. I was going to update the visual effects, and then we just decided leave it as is. But yeah, interesting. And the little nugget there would be that they called it Devil Beneath because films with titles that have the word devil or God or something about that plays good in the Midwest in America.
right.
So that's why they called it like that. So I was like, all right, whatever.
And did the second bite of the cherry do well?
Well, did okay. Yeah, yeah.
Oh well. And then that brings us to 2018 Occupation. Small group of town residents have to band together after a devastating ground invasion of aliens, and thoroughly enjoyed this as well. First time watch was just Saturday,
Yeah, right.
and thoroughly enjoyed it. You described it as Independence Day meets Red Dawn,
That's what I was going for. That was my pitch.
and definitely done it. And you pulled it. I think effects wise, again, you pulled it off. The
Yeah.
creature.
That had a lot more effects. Again, leaning into the practical side and a lot of practical explosions in that one. A lot of special effects, which was great to do on nights. You know, having guys run around and actually having these massive explosions going off is always fun to shoot and film and plan. Um, but yeah, that again, it taught me a lot of lessons, that movie. And props to the background extras and that, like they turned up in droves to work on that movie, which was really cool to have a lot of guys really support the film. And yeah, it was a good time.
Oh well, the nice Terminator line in there as well.
Which one was that?
Come with me if you want to live.
Is that in there, is it? I haven't seen it
Yeah,
for a
that's
while.
in Occupation. And how many of the suits did you have? The alien suits? Because there seem to be
Uh
so many.
yeah, I think we had about 40. I
Oh
think we had
man,
about 40
that's
suits. and I would like recycle them and change them up and give things a bit of difference here and there. Funny thing about those suits, again, lessons in filmmaking 101, in independent filmmaking. I didn't see those suits. I saw a photo of them 2 days before we filmed. They sent me a photo 2 days before we filmed, and then I actually held them in my hands the day of filming day one, and and I had no time to have any suggestions. It was like, this is what we got. This is what we're gonna go with. So yeah, that was fun as a filmmaker, kind of like as a producer, because I wear so many different hats.
Yeah,
Definitely a sort of heart attack moment, you know what I mean? To be like, well, I'm seeing these as we're putting them on the actors, and I'm about to call action, and this is what we got. So yeah, interesting
yeah.
times.
Because you obviously you help out on the CGI side of things as well, don't you?
I do now. That film I didn't. And
Right.
the first film I didn't. Occupation one I didn't. No. Again, I went to a different CG, different computer house after Red Billabong. And yeah, so tried something different, tried a different team, various degrees of success or failure or whatever people want to think out there. But yeah, again, for me, it was a huge learning experience.
I'd say it was a success because I thought the CGI effect looked really good.
And
And I'm
there's
not a big fan of CGI,
definitely some stuff in there that's pretty good. Definitely some stuff in that one that I was very happy with.
but no, it looks great. And then tw 2 years later, 2020, Occupation Rainfall. So I take it the original was quite a success on a lower budget.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a success. Like worldwide, it was number one on Netflix. I think and this day and age with streaming, it changed the market so much. Do you know
Mm.
what I mean? It had a better release worldwide than it did in Australia, which is funnily enough. But I already had aspirations of the sequel. As I was in post, as I was editing the film, I came up with the idea of the sequel. So I was kind of like raring to go, and I like announced the sequel the week the film came out, Occupation, because I was really keen on the film. So that kind of led us into the sequel no matter what, because I was just so keen on doing it. So that's why that
And
one kind of that's why that one exists.
and the sequel is excellent as well. Um, nice continuation. How comes the main actress didn't come back to do it again? Who played
Yeah,
Amelia?
that's a recast of Amelia. I believe that came down to scheduling conflicts.
Right. Oh, because that was a shame. 'Cause, I mean, they were both great actresses. And how did you get Ken Jeong involved?
Just cheekily enough reached out to him. I think at the time I knew someone that knew him, or someone came to me that knew him and was like, "Hey, would you be interested in working with Ken? He kind of, he's seen the first movie, and he knows that you're making a movie, and would you be interested in a role?" And I had that role available. I think that's how it happened. I had that role available, and I sent my contact the script, who then got back and said, "Hey, Ken wants to talk to you," and we connected. He got it, and he flew over here and did it. So that was fun.
And yeah, great role. And his back and forth with Stephen the
Yeah.
Grey is superb with his stick on Tash.
Who's played by Jason Isaacs.
Right, you're right. Is that who plays him? Is it right?
Yeah,
Very
Jason Isaacs plays Steve, which is another really good actor to work with.
yes, definitely. And it's a funny back and forth. And
Yeah, yeah,
again,
it's
the
kind of like
effects.
yeah, it was kind of like my Wizard of Oz moment. You know what I mean? It's like these guys in my idea when I was writing the script, I'm like, these guys are on this journey to get to this place, Pine Gap. He keeps hearing throughout the movie, Pine Gap, rainfall, rainfall, rainfall. And when I got there and I was writing the script, I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if it's just two idiots who are running the show? So that's kind of was my thinking of it to, you know, do something different.
I like that Stephen had been around for years, predating everything.
Yeah, I had to work on a whole world building exercise. And that's kind of I love doing that stuff. And I left it open with like a chapter two situation. So there's a whole story, what happens there. I don't know when that will see the light of day, or I don't know how it will come out, but I'll work something eventually to finish that story.
And I'll look forward to seeing it. Then that brings us to 2023. Bring him to me. Um, Loyalties and morals collide when a getaway driver transports a passenger to an uncertain fate. And it is a great kind of back and forth with the two of them in the car constantly.
Yeah, yeah. Like that was after two Alien films, and
Yep.
COVID happened while we were filming. Well, just as we finished, literally, we finished Rainfall December 2019, and then like January,
Right.
February 2020 was the start of like the news articles would be like COVID, this COVID thing. So we were doing post all during COVID. Luckily for us, there was just a few of us because it's a very small team in the
Yeah.
office, and everyone else was remotely doing the work. But that COVID thing hurt that film. It wasn't able to do a theatrical release around the world, especially in
Mm.
America. The American, in my opinion, the some of the people who released the film didn't do it a service, Rainfall. So it went into all that. That's what I was saying before about the sequels and that. And then after doing two Alien films and doing just COVID in general, I
Yeah.
think it was very hard for the industry to get back on its feet, even for especially for independent filmmakers. It's kind of like, what do we do next? And Bring Him to Me came across my desk. And I really thought it was something different for me to do. So that's how that movie came into existence.
And it is a really great movie. Sam Neill is excellent in his part of it, and Rachel Griffiths as well. And
Hmm.
Barry Pepper, who you don't see enough, to be honest. I think Battleground, Battlefield Earth, kind of hurt his career because that was his big film, and it got known as one of the worst films ever made, didn't it? And I think that kind of hurt Barry Pepper's career, but he's a great actor.
Well, I know Barry speaks highly of his experience working on Battlefield Earth, and I actually like Battlefield Earth, for all its flaws, especially Barry. But when I saw it and when I was when it came out, I was kind of like a
Yeah,
pre-teen teenager, and that I actually watched it a fair few times. I really loved all the Harriers at the end, the Harrier jets. Um, But yeah, Barry definitely is an actor that we should see more of. So I was really keen when he signed on to it. And because actors attract actors, once he came on, then there was the Sam Neill, and then there was Rachel Griffiths, and all three together directing those guys was a joy as a director to get to work with those actors, and scenes where they're working together and scenes at the end where it's Rachel and him and tension was all really, really fun to do. But again, being an independent film, I think we shot that movie in like 15 days, which is like super quick for filmmaking. It was literally like racing from set. I think every day was like a new set because it's a car travel movie. It was like set to
yeah,
set to set to set every day, having to get there with like no lights and no pre-lights and just all the different things as independent filmmakers have to do. So I only really got to shoot, I got like shoot like two takes or three takes and be like, well, we're done because we got to move on to the next thing. So it was a real fly by the seat of your pants. Making of that movie. But again, having the powerhouses of those actors obviously helps because they're so good. Because they come prepared, and they're kind of dialed in. Barry especially is a very method actor, so he understood his task, very well, and allowed me to focus on how to film it, how to produce it,
yeah.
location, and everything else that had to go into that movie. So yeah, everyone came together on that movie, which was really good.
15 days, and there's quite a few little action sequences in it as well. So that's
Yeah,
quite good. That's quite good going.
yeah, and more than what was in the script. The script called for there was like a car chase or two, and it was quite small in the script to keep it contained. Which again, when you read it, you were like, "Oh, this makes sense. We can do that." But
Yeah,
me
yeah,
being me and me being I love going bigger than I can. So I sort of made a meal out of some of that stuff, which, was I still was able to do in 15 days, which is kind of crazy.
No, and you couldn't tell that was made in just over 2 weeks at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed it, and again, there's a bit of a twist in it that I didn't see coming, which is always good because I think nowadays there's a lot of films are quite predictable.
Which is disappointing. I feel like the predictability, it's like Hollywood is just what's the word I'm looking for? It's like they've just implanted it into people's brain, conditioned. It's like
Yeah,
they've conditioned the audience for so long with predictability that they just some people, it's almost like, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like the sci-fi films, back in the 40s with worms in their brains, or that, they live type thing. It's like when you take the glasses off people, they're like, oh, I can see. But the people who are conditioned, it's like they go to the movies and they're fed the same and they walk away going, that was good. So when a film comes along, like one of mine, even Primitive War, compared to a Jurassic film, which we'll get to soon, I'm assuming,
yes,
it's
yes,
like when something's different, some audiences are like, whoa, it's too different for me. I'm used to the conditioning of the big film. So it's kind of interesting. I've seen that through my career. I've had conversations at cinemas where people say it was very different. It was different to what I'm used to. I'm like, well, what are you used to? And they're like, well, I'm used to Hollywood. And I'm like,
yeah.
so you've been conditioned to like that sort of movie. So open your eyes and have a look at something different. So it's very interesting.
And it really that whole conditioning's only been since the 2000s,
Yes.
where Hollywood lost all imagination and oh, let's
Yes.
try this.
Yes. It's been since the 2000s. I feel like they doubled down after Marvel, because Marvel on its own, like Iron Man 1, was bucking the trend. It wasn't
Yeah,
conditioned. Like the way he stood up at the end, he's like, I am Iron Man. It's like broke the mold of like superhero movies. But then Hollywood wanted to be everything like it, so everything then became Marvel. And then Marvel itself became Marvel and down that rabbit hole. So that was a doubling down. And then I feel like after COVID, it's been doubling down again. And Netflix
mm,
and everything else. It's like they're doubling down. It's like they're tripling down, quadrupling down on their own doubling down
yeah,
of conditioning. So now it's kind of at the point where everyone's like, what is even what we're watching? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
It's
I
weird.
mean, that's why I think I still prefer watching films from the 80s and the 90s,
That's all I
even the
watch.
70s as well. Yes, I'm
Yes.
the same mostly.
That's all I watch
Um,
every time I find time in my schedule these days to watch a movie. I just find myself watching something old because they're just good.
well, yeah, they are. And I'm exactly the same. I'll always go back to my old favorites, my Dawn of the Dead, the Evil Dead, and stuff like that. The
Hmm.
original Star Wars, just the good stuff from the 80s, bit of
Yes.
Back to the Future and all that kind of thing.
Perfect movie.
Yeah, it is really bit of Teen Wolf now and again. It's got to be done. Then that brings us to Scurry. Two strangers find themselves trapped in underground um, when the city is being attacked by like alien, spidery crab creature things. Um, and it's CGI game in that is excellent as well.
Part
Um,
practical. That one is part
yeah,
practical. Had a great practical. There's some shots in that movie that's 100% practical, and there's some that we used, the puppeteers as a reference, knowing that we might have to expand on a
yeah,
little bit to make it more creepy, and there's some shots that are complete CG. So it's a real amalgamation, and probably the best puppeteers and best practicals that I've worked in my career on that one. So yeah, that all came together. That all worked really well. And again, shot super quickly. I think we shot that movie in 12 days, 13 days, some crazy less than Bream to me time. And that was done during the actors strike. When the actors were on strike, I was literally working on another show. We had sets built and we had the whole crew there. And I was calling the actors. I'm like, if there's a strike, will you come? And they're like, yeah, yeah, we'll definitely come. And then the strike happens. And of course, everyone gets cold feet. Oh, if I come, everyone's gonna be pissed off at me. So they didn't come. And I had to pivot an entire crew to this script scurry.
what was, if you don't mind asking, what was the film you were gonna make?
I haven't made it yet, so I don't. I'll keep that under wraps.
Right, that's fair enough. And it's again a brilliant twofer with the two main actors. Who Jamie Costa, who had been in Bring Him to Me. Because
Hmm.
you do, I've noticed you do like to use quite a few of the same actors in your films, so it's like working with paintbox, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. It's something I'm going to probably do less and less. I kind of like now expanding out and having new cast in each movie and that. So you'll probably find that I do less and less of bringing people, especially leads, back and back.
Yeah,
It's definitely good. It's definitely good to have a shorthand. And if that works out, a shorthand, people, Dan Ewing, for example, on the occupation films and was in Red
mm,
Billabong. We're both the same age, so and we both like the same things. So I can say, "Hey, remember the scene in Predator? Remember the scene in Aliens? Remember the scene in whatever?" Beverly Hills Cop, and he'll be like, "I love it," because he gets it. And it's funny. It's funny when you try to talk to some people about that, and they're like, "Oh, I've never seen that movie," and you're like, "You've never seen this movie?" And they're like, "Well, don't
yeah,
make me," and then you have to explain to them the motivation or whatever. So that's always fun. But I am enjoying, bringing in new cast and finding new people. So like it depends. It depends how well they gel. The crew side definitely has taken probably that long to find people that again have that same
yeah,
compatibility. There's definitely some people I've worked with in the circles that haven't gelled with us, and that's fine because people can gel with different people. And we've got rid of the bad eggs, and now we've kind of got a crew that's gone from basically Bring Him to Me to Scurry to Primitive. It's all kind of been the same behind the scenes crew, and that is good because it's great to have a shorthand with the crew,
mm,
because they're the ones that are literally in the trenches making the film with you, in pre and in shoot and behind the scenes of the things that the actors don't have to worry about, crises that happen. And you get together with those guys to be like, let's nut it out. So I've definitely got a great crew these days, which is awesome.
yeah. And you're great at shooting action, got to say. Up there with your Australian brethren, Brian Trenchard Smith, who is a very good action director. Um,
Okay.
and in Scurry, I thought that split screen scene was excellent, where they're crawling below
Mhm.
and the creatures above and all that. Just superb.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Yeah, that was a shot. I had that in my head, that shot. And we shot it, and then everyone was a bit concerned that it wouldn't work, so we shot it a more traditional way. And that was in the traditional one was in the edit very, very for a long time. And it wasn't very close to the end where I said to everyone, maybe we should look at my version. And I put my version in, and everyone's like, "Ooh, that's probably more interesting." And it took a bit of time for people to catch up to what I was trying to do.
and it's also got a touch of the original Alien about it.
A little bit,
But
a little bit. Yeah.
the other film, I would definitely put it up. Remind me of The Descent. Very
Mm-hmm.
claustrophobic.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep.
with in the use of the caves and stuff like that.
Yep.
But yeah, the Descent must have been a was that a little bit of a
Inspiration.
yeah.
It was,
Sorry.
yeah, that film was definitely in the pitch deck that I was showing around to people. It was The Descent was the big inspiration. So bang on.
Yeah, no, completely see it. And I'm friend with Neil Marshall. He's a great guy. He used
Hey.
to live in Carlisle many years ago when I
Mm.
first met him, just after he'd made Dog Soldiers, and
Oh,
before The
nice.
Descent. Um, so that brings us to your latest magna opus, Primitive War, which is just brilliant. Set in Vietnam, 1968, a recon unit known as the Vulture Squad sent to an isolated jungle valley to uncover the fate of a missing Green Beret patrol, and they discover they are not alone. And it's just a shit ton of dinosaurs.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned, magnum opus. It definitely feels like the culmination of I said this when I was at the premiere in LA. It definitely feels like a culmination of 10 years worth of of work, but also 10 years worth of like R&D, 10 years worth of learning, 10 years worth of like everything that I've worked on, everything you've just mentioned, the last 10 years worth of work definitely feels like combination of all that led me to Primitive and to be able to pull it off the way we've been able to pull it off.
Because obviously, Primitive War was it's a book and a graphic novel. How did you discover it?
I literally was just scrolling on the internet and I happened to be at the time it was after Rainfall. Rainfall come out January, and I probably was scrolling through the internet in June. And I was always in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking about the next projects or my next slate. And I just happened to come across the graphic novel cover, which was the utahraptor jumping out at a soldier in tiger stripe gear, which I immediately knew was Vietnam. And I looked into it, and I was like, wow, this is like awesome. This is like my childhood fantasies. Soldiers fighting dinosaurs, G.I. Joes versus, you know, Jurassic dinosaurs. And I reached out to the author and sort of pitched him my idea and pitched him that why I should be the guy to do this. And yeah, he was keen, Ethan. And yeah, I got cracking. But that was 2021, and I only got to make it 2024. And all those years was me trying to pitch it around Hollywood, pitch it to studios, because I was like, this is a slam dunk, guys. Like, this makes sense. We'll make it. I know war, I know creatures. I know I love dinosaurs. I'm a huge dinosaur fan from, being a child. It never left me. But unfortunately, like we said before, Hollywood being conditioned on one thing, kind of felt that, Jurassic and Spielberg had the IP hold over dinosaurs, which they kind of do because they're the biggest, they are the dinosaur films. But my pitch was like, well, there can be two, they can, they don't own it. But no, no one wanted to be involved. So because they were scared, they're like, how are you going to do it? How are you going to do it without Spielberg? So yeah, I came back from Bring Him to Me. I went to the premiere of Bring Him to Me in LA last February. And I basically had some meetings while I was there, talked to Jeremy Piven, talked to some cast members, and I flew back and I said to my team here in Australia, we're going to do it. We're going to do it ourselves. And we, yeah, kicked it off last year and just did it in completely independent.
And what an independent film it is. Very Predatorish start. I thought very influenced by Predator, which was excellent. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. The beginning obviously sets up the world, sets up the tone. Um, we shot that. We shot that. Actually, we shot that late in the shoot. It was one of the last things we shot, which I think is
right?
kind of good. Which is kind of good sometimes to do that because the early days of shooting, no matter what film you're on, nearly every shoot I've been on, even on HBO's shows, it's always a bit of a rocky start when you're making the movie. It's like no one wants to. Everyone's finding their feet and everything else.
Mm.
So it's always good to sort of do like the middle of the show, the middle of the act, so you can hide it in the edit. So we did that one quite late, which then became the early scene. And by then, all our crew was kind of firing on cylinders of knowing
Yeah.
what the film is. But it was actually one we tackled quite early in animation and that for the dinosaurs. But yeah, yeah, it's great. It's a great opening. My whole idea for the film was it's supposed to be a war film first, dinosaur film second, even though it becomes a big dinosaur film. But
Mm.
I've just seen so many independent films where they try to do dinosaurs, they try to do war, and it comes across, not great. You got these mercenaries walking through, you know, jungles, just being idiots and not how you would ever be as a soldier. And because war and history is very important to me, I wanted to make sure they felt like it was they'd walked off the set of Platoon into, a dinosaur movie, not a campy dinosaur movie first and just the act and the military beat second. So that led to like those early scenes where it's no dinosaurs yet, but just setting up the world of Vietnam. And that was really important to me.
And you, yeah, definitely. I'd say Platoon, Full Metal Jacket, that kind of vibe, bit of Hamburger Hill in there, um,
Hmm, that's a good
and
one.
just crossed with Jurassic Park stroke Carnosaur. Um, just excellent, really, really. And I like the designs of the dinosaurs
Thank you.
and that whole feel at the start. You feel like you're in a war movie.
Yeah, yeah, well, that was the idea. I had a Marine a Marine Corps team, Freddie Joe Farnsworth, who had worked on Band of Brothers and worked on um, heaps of other military movies. He flew out and helped me with the training the actors, and it was great to be on set, and also really helped the crew. Even it all becomes a bit of like an energized unit when he's yelling out commands to the actors, and the
Mm.
actors are chipping in to help the crew, picking up cameras. Again, we're a small unit, being independent. Everyone sort of chipped in together to make it happen, which was really good. And sometimes it doesn't happen on movies, which it should, but sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
And the dinosaur designs. I had a great visual effects team behind me that I went. And again, like I was saying before, this was a culmination of 10 years. So of all the things I learnt from those earlier films we were discussing, this film I didn't go and get a visual effects house. This time I actually pounded the pavement and built a visual effects team myself by going out and finding freelancers or people who would freelance for me who were in big houses like ILM or
Mm.
MPC and all the big houses that worked on Godzilla, worked on Jurassic films itself. And I sort of picked the best people, and they would come and join me the last year, even if they were moonlighting on other films, they would be working with me, which was very interesting. But most of them were full time working on this film, and I was producing it and I was supervising the team. So it really became on me to find the team, build the team, and then it was direct access between me and the artist. So there was no sort of 20 different
Yeah.
corporate sort of loopholes you had to go through. In these big films we have to go this person, then that person, that person. Eventually as a director, then 2 weeks later it comes back and feedback comes back and this cycle continues. It was like direct to me and them. So I'd wake up and have my app on my phone, and literally 24/7 I would just be feedback and looking at shots, be like, it looks great, or you should change this, or maybe we should do that. I'd be acting out dinosaurs on my phone, pretending to be the T-Rex, or pretending to be the Raptors, giving them the idea of kind of what I was looking for in the animation department. So really sort of becoming like the second part of filming was making these dinosaurs feel like they were real. And I had an amazing animation director who'd worked on heaps of big films, Laurent, and he understood me. He understood the assignment, which was great because he made them feel like real animals, not just computer
Mm.
generated things.
And they don't just look like computer generated things. The animation is excellent. They look
Yeah.
real.
Yes. Yeah, that's all the team that I put together. So I'm really jazzed that I have those people and found those people because they really brought it together. And there was at the beginning of the film, beginning of we sort of worried about the shoot first, and we said we'll worry about post and the dinosaurs later because we had to just focus on one at a time because we're such a small team. And when it came time to do the dinosaurs, there was a version I saw that was going to be like, okay.
Mm.
And we sort of pressed that button. But then in the meantime, this amazing team I brought together started working on the T-Rex chase through the jungle where he's chasing the two soldiers and he falls off the cliff and all that kind of stuff. That was the first big thing we tackled with it. If we're going to do it, let's just tackle daytime T-Rex chase. That way, if we get this right, this is going to like set the tone for the rest of the movie. And once a few shots started to get finished and ticked off, we were like, it would exceeded our expectations of what we could do as a independent studio. And then some of these other things that were underway, we suddenly kind of had to make the call and say, everyone stop work. We've got this other way we can do it. And I had to like scrap everything and start again. I'm glad I did because it just elevated, everything became in the same level throughout the film. And I think for the better.
And yeah, it certainly worked out. As I say, my favorite film of the year
Thank you.
so far, and it's just I've watched it twice now, and it is superb. It really
Thank
is
you.
an absolute cracker of a film. And I've told all my mates about it. The other lads who do the Carlisle Cult Cinema Club with us, straight into chat with them. You need to see this. This is just
Great.
absolutely superb. Um, and it is. And how much of it was shot on location?
Like 95% on
That's brilliant.
location. Maybe 90%, but yeah, like definitely a huge portion. And that was kind of what went into my thinking of being independent. If we did it all on a green screen or a volume or whatever they do these days, it's just going to have a different look. It's just going to have that, like, you just can pick it. You can just go, that's a volume. That's a green screen. And then I thought that if we filmed it on location, at least then the artists have to then we have something to go off. We can light the
Yeah.
wrecks the same way the trees are lit or the dirt's lit, or like it's just going to feel like it's an atmospheric thing. So it's kind of the way I thought about it. But yeah, but it comes out in cinemas across UK and Ireland quite soon.
Oh, well, everybody gets to see it in the UK. When does it come out in the UK?
Or I literally got an email before I hopped on this call, and all they can tell me is they said before the end of the year. And seeing that it's October, that should be obviously coming up soon.
Right. Oh, excellent. Well, I'll be going to see it on the cinema again because
Awesome.
it'd be lovely to see it on a big screen because
Great.
it's fantastic. And where was it shot?
I was shot here in Queensland, which is where I'm based and where our company is based. We're lucky that we're 5 minutes away from the Movie World Studios here in Queensland, and also about 20 minutes away from all the jungles that when films come over here, like Godzilla and Kong, Skull Island, and a bunch of other things have all been shot around here. So we're lucky that it's all on our doorstep.
That
So
is
again, again, something when I read the material and pitched it out, I knew I could achieve it because not only do I, had all that stuff as well here. I'm like, we can shoot it right here. We're not flying and run away, to some location.
yeah, yeah, and that it shows because it does look like it's all there. You know what I mean?
Yes,
It doesn't look green screen at all. And
exactly.
there was part of it. I mean, there was bits where it had a feel of aliens,
Yeah,
especially
definitely.
when the raptors are all attacking.
Yes.
It did feel like aliens there. But it also slightly dog soldiers stroke assault on precinct 13 when they're in the research building.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Definitely. I never thought of Precinct 13, but that's definitely a good comparison.
Yeah, it was just that feeling, you know, when they're all attacking the police
Yeah.
station in precinct 13. That's what it just
Yep.
felt like for me. And
Definitely some Starship Troopers vibes at the end.
yes, definitely as well. And the way some of the shots give off that, yeah, just really well made. How, I mean, what kind of a budget did it have, if you don't mind me
Uh,
asking?
I haven't actually said the official number, but someone asked me the other day, they said that they've seen circulating around the internet someone saying it was 7 million US, which in terms of those movies we've been talking about is like a lot less budget. And I know Godzilla minus one was in the 15 million range.
Mm.
I can say I said, look, it's close to that 7 million mark.
That's all you said. Close to 7 million.
That's all
That'll
I'm gonna
do.
say. It's close to seven. It's close to that mark, which is like extremely low for a film like this.
Definitely. I'd have thought it was, you know, 30, 40 million, maybe more spent on it.
Well, I
But
appreciate that. That
you've,
was that was the idea.
well, it certainly looks that way. And it's certainly better than the last bunch of Jurassic Park movies.
Well, I love Jurassic Park, and I'm never going to bitch about it, but I appreciate the sentiment.
No, definitely. It's what Jurassic Park 2 should have been, was Marines going onto that island and taking out the.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely something they could have done. Like how I kind of one of my pitches for this movie was, the Jurassic films are great, and when I saw the first Jurassic, I was 9 years old, in the cinema. It changed my life. It made me want to become a director. Um, but there's definitely a cohort of people like myself in my age group
Yeah,
that
yeah.
grew up with that movie, and they've wanted it to maybe mature as they've matured, but it's never going to mature because just that's how studios work. So I definitely felt like there was a gap in the market, and this could fill that gap of people that grew up wanting to see something like this, because I did. And I thought if I do, there must at least be another person out there that wants to see it. So if I can get one person in the cinema, that could be good. But yeah, it turns out a lot of people like the idea, so which is great.
And it seems to be getting really good notices all over the world from
It
what I've
does.
seen. and
Yes.
Red.
Yeah.
Everybody's
And
absolutely loving
humbling.
it.
Humbling. It's humbling when that happens. Obviously, as a director, you want it to get seen by a wide audience, and it's definitely a movie. It's watchable and rewatchable. So I hope people continue to find it.
Oh, well, I mean, is there any chance of a sequel? Are you working on a sequel?
Am I working on a sequel? Again, I've been asked this question a fair bit. I would love to make a sequel. It comes down to how well the numbers go for us in the sales of the digital and then
Mm.
streaming and everything else. So, yeah, unlike Rainfall, I don't want to rush in and do a sequel. Obviously, I know this is my most successful film. It's the most one that's got the most accolades. It's the one that people really love. I think it's my best movie. So of course, all that said, I'd love to do another one. So let's see what happens in the next couple of months.
And if a studio came to you and said, "We loved it. What would you like to do for us?" and it was a big studio, what would you like to do next?
For the sequel,
Well,
for the sequel,
yeah,
or if a studio came and said I'd do anything,
yeah,
anything. Um, Look, if a studio came to me, like obviously my love is Star Wars, right? So if someone came to me and said, "Do you want to do a Star Wars movie?" I would say yes. Um, I would love to do a Star Wars movie. I was quoted the other day saying I would love to do a Knights of the Old Republic video game adaptation. Um, and I could talk about Star Wars lore for a long time. But there's a bunch of other, obviously a sequel to this movie would be great. I've got some TV shows that I'm trying to get going, so we'll see how they go in spaces in similar genre spaces. I've got a big sci-fi movie, so yeah, I've got lots of different ideas, and yeah, I mean, but I'm also seeing if a studio came to me, I'd be open to directing some established brand that they would be interested in doing. So we'll see what happens.
it'd be lovely to see what you've got coming next, because as I say, um, Primitive War just superb, and people need to get out there and support it more, and really, because it is excellent. It is. I keep saying this. How
I
long did it
appreciate it.
take to shoot, by the way?
Not 15 days, thank God. Um, this one again, when I was pitching it around Hollywood, when they all said no to me, I did have a much larger budget and probably a longer time. I think I had like a couple of months because that's usually how Hollywood shoots movies. But when I decided to do it myself, we had to drag everything in. Luckily for me, it's still the same. I didn't actually cut a scene. I didn't do anything
Yeah,
differently, but I did cut down the shooting schedule. So because I know I can sort of do things quickly. So it was shot in 6 weeks.
that wasn't bad. 6 weeks.
Yeah,
From
it was
what you
still
said,
tight. It was still very tight. Again, it's like a over 2 hour movie, shooting in 6 weeks. I didn't expect it to be an over 2 hour movie, to be honest. The script was only like 99 pages. It's just again me and my imagination. That whole ending of the movie wasn't on the page. It just had like one line being like, in a shower of blood, the raptors attacked the helicopter, and that's all it said. And then one line, I've created this whole ending. Um, so yeah, so we shot it in 6 weeks, and I was on post from it for like 18 months,
and
24/7, 24/7,
it
365 for like 18 months.
bloody hell, that's sometimes. But you can see you've spent the time on it, and it looks fantastic. The dinosaurs. I can't stress to anybody who's not seen it, who's watching this, how good the dinosaurs look, because they do look fantastic, and
Yeah.
probably some of the best dinosaurs I've seen on screen for a long time. And it did remind me, going back to those 80s, 90s kind of horror action films of that time.
Yeah, it definitely has that vibe. I keep hearing that a lot. Maybe it's just because I love those movies so much, it just oozes out of me. Like I'm not out there every day being like, let's make it like the 90s. I think it's just who I am and how I make films. So it's interesting that people keep saying that.
But no, it definitely is. So around that time, what were your kind of favorite horrors when you were growing up?
Oh, I mean, To be honest, I wasn't actually a huge horror fan.
Right.
Growing up, grew up in a small town in New South Wales, and the horror section would always be down the back of the VHX, the home movie store, and my parents would never, they never liked horror, so I never really grew up with it. But once I started to get into it, obviously Aliens was a big one for me growing up. That was probably the horror film that I watched. And there was a bunch of 80s ones that I obviously watched on
Mm.
VHS growing up, and Beta, even when Beta was still around. But for me it was more just following the career of like George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, and James Cameron. So I'd always be there first day to see anything new from those guys, and then throughout the 90s there was things like Independence Day, which was a big milestone in my life. I really loved that movie. And Men in Black and Creatures and Aliens and all that kind of stuff was just sort of my childhood was like that. Plus G.I. Joes and dinosaurs. So yeah, a real mix of different things, which all kind of comes out of Primitive War. There's all little
Oh,
things in between.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And as I say, I can see in the back you're a bit of a collector of Star Wars and other things. So what I take it, it's mainly Star Wars you collect.
Yeah, I mean, I've been collecting my whole life. Um, this room was way too small for all my things. I do have a dinosaur section that's just not set up this time. There's a whole Marvel shelf behind me of all the Marvel characters. Only up into the first 10 years, I haven't really got a Marvel figure after Endgame. That's kind of the culmination for me.
Yeah.
Um, and I've got over there, I've got like Die Hard and Tombstone and The Mummy and all very different franchises that I'm a fan of as well. So yeah, it's kind of like whatever I like is what I'll collect.
Yeah, as I said earlier on, I'm a bit of a collector as well. I've got some Hot Toys, Snake Plissken, Connor McLeod, Superman, Christopher Reeve one. Plus, I'm a big Doctor Strange fan, so I've got a ton of Doctor Strange Funkos and figures and
Nice.
other bits and bobs, and then there's my Godzilla bits as well. But I think we've kind of covered everything. Um, Thank you for coming on the show. I hope you've enjoyed it, and it's not been a massive chore.
No, thank you so much. I'm always keen. Like your questions led me to give some little tidbits that I haven't really put out there before. So you got some exclusive content here.
Oh, well, I always like to go through everyone's career who I interview because I think it makes for a bit of an interesting conversation. Plus, it brings up things that, as you've just said, you might not have chatted about before.
Exactly. It's interesting to reminisce.
That's it. That's it. I chatted with a guy called Troy Evans, who's a character actor on Friday, and he was telling us about working on Demolition Man with Stallone,
Wow.
which wasn't a very good experience. He said Stallone
Oh
like
no.
spent too much time in his little caravan thing doing
Oh no.
weights.
That's a
So
shame. I love that
yeah,
movie.
and he was on Under Siege with Seagal, and he just downright
Love
said,
that
"I won't
movie.
tell any stories about that man because he was a bit of an asshole."
Wow. Wow. They say, right? They say don't meet your heroes. Which
Well,
is
this is
hard.
it. This is it.
Yeah, which is hard when I'm a director and like I cast sometimes who I just want to work with because even Primitive War, I cast Trisha Helfer, I love Battlestar Galactica, I cast Piven, I love Entourage, True Blood with Ryan, The Boys with Nick Eschler. So it's great when actors turn out to be nice people and you can actually have a
Yeah,
conversation. I remember Barry Pepper sat down with me one night on Bring Him to Me. It was probably the only time I ever sat down while they were fixing a crane or something was happening. And he came next to me. He's like, "So, you want to talk about Saving Private Ryan?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I do." So it's great when people want to reminisce with you. And like, I'm a huge movie nerd. So it was great to hear some of their stories. And same for the cast on Primitive. It was a real good experience to pick their brains and get them to reminisce about their past.
yeah, yeah. Which I think it all helps, and helps in the bonding experience as well, especially if you're working with these actors and things like that. But anyways, I'll let you get on because it's starting to get late where you are in Australia.
Yes.
And thank you so much for doing the show.
That's all right.
And
Thank you for having me on.
I hope when your next film comes out, you'll pop back on and we'll have another crack.
Of course. Of course. Thank you so much.
Excellent. No problem.
All right.
So
Thank
it's
you.
goodbye from me and it's goodbye from Luke. And we'll speak to you all again soon.
Thanks, guys. Go see Primitive War.
Yes, go and see Primitive War. It's excellent.